story time. So, back in 2022, I was extremely honored to be a part of a wrestling based promotion. Now, I really do wish that I could show you proof that this happened, but he took the YouTube channel down, basically erased every ounce of um, social media imaginable. There's literally no way that I can prove this, but as long as you take my word, that's all that I really care about, honestly, because this legitimately happened. So, how did I get involved with an independent wrestling company? Well, back, like I said, back in 2022, I I'm still in high school at this time. So, um, my father takes me to an independent wrestling match at my local community center because they used to host them there like all the time. And like standard heel heat on this one guy. I never really understood what kayfabe was, so I used to always think that it was real, like this was legit. And well, as it turns out, um, a, a wrestler by the name of the Wreck, it's supposed to be like a train wreck kind of thing. Like the guy, he got into a train wreck and he managed to be the only one to survive. And he went insane. He felt super guilty, and the only way that he could take out his anger was by wrestling. Kind of a weird plot, admittedly, but hey, it worked. And little did we realize that me and him, we were gonna get a decent payday. Not great, but I started out at $50, and then I ended. And by the time that it ended, I was making $200. Sorry, my voice just gave out there. So let me get into the story. So my my buddy, which I still hold him dearly to my heart. I don't talk to him as much, and I seriously regret it. But he held a wrestling company and he did tryouts, for a managerial role, exclusively a managerial role for the wrestler Wreck. Now, he came out to Mick Foley's coincidentally Mick Foley's Wreck theme song, and you know really just a super nice guy. Like I can't explain that enough. And if he just happens to see this, hey, I miss you, Brian. You're a really nice dude, and I love you. Not, anyways. So, um, I said, you know what? I know it's not gonna happen, but I might as well give it a try. Because why not? I 22. I don't even know how old I was. I really can't do math like that, but still very unexperienced. Because I used to do like messing around, like mud wrestling, and just like kind of me and a few buddies, we would throw each other around, but I never did any legit training. So um I caught a promo, which I actually have on tape, like on a camcorder. So if you guys want to see that, to kind of further the belief that I actually was involved with a wrestling company, by all means, I will show you. But I wasn't sure what kind of a character I wanted to do. So I experimented with a few different ones and I eventually landed on this one. It's very controversial. I understand, but it was called The Crazy German. Now, for obvious reasons, I do look back at it and I was like, what were you thinking? But they all liked it. They thought it would fit in with him, and sure enough, it did. We got crazy heel heat, which, in case of you guys don't know, what heel and babyface mean, babyface are good guys, and heels are bad guys. Because think of it like, your face is up here, your heels down there. That's how I always thought of it. So, anyways. So, they said that when we're ready to bring you in, we're gonna call you. And like almost a year goes by, and I finally get a call, and he was like, "Hey, you know, I think we're ready." Because for a full year they were building me up, and again, I just want to say it's a very surreal experience. It was so cool just to be involved with this. Like genuinely, I can't even tell you how happy I am to be even remotely involved with the business. And I really want to go back to it. I seriously miss it. But anyway, so my first gig is because I live in New York, so my first gig is in a kind of like a little small town, because that's really what New York is. It's just like a bunch of small towns that are just collaged, and you got like at max like 10 famous ones, but other than that. So, um, we do the thing. I do a run in, and a run in is where like you're backstage, you run out to the ring, and because I'm a heel, I start attacking the baby face and crazy heat because Wreck was obviously like the guy I was managing, and great introduction for me. And people were just going out of their mind, especially like the little kids, they were like, no, you can't do that to our hero, and it was so crazy. And I thought it was going to be a one-time thing, but little did I know when I signed the contract, it was actually for a 2-year deal. So get ready for this one. Next show we do, um I'm told that we got to do a crazy bump, and crazy is me trying to do a moonsault, and I get caught, and it's caught into like a tombstone pile driver, kind of like um Brock Lesnar and Undertaker style. Like I'm not athletic, I never will be, but I give it my all, climb the top rope, get caught, tombstone pile drive, roll out the ring, and you know same thing happens to Rack. He ends up losing. We get into it, we start pushing each other, acting like we're gonna fight, but then we just, we headbutt, and then we go back. So there's some shows that happen that really aren't that important, but I'd be more than willing to talk about them, if need be. So let's talk about my highlights, and this one is like I'm proud of a couple of them, truthfully. So the one is my first, and as of right now, singles bout. Let me explain this one. ECW was known as like a hardcore, like we're gonna just do our own thing, and we're not gonna let anybody stop it. Hardcore promotion. Very, very good wrestling, but also the extremeness, like just grungiest kind of matches you'll ever see. WWE wanted to capitalize on that when making their hardcore division. They came up with a hardcore title. Yes, we copied that idea. WWE did make it first, but they also copied ECW. So, it's a copy with a copy. Anyways, so Um, we're fighting for the hardcore title, and again, I so badly wish that a lot of this stuff, like a lot of the Instagram and phone, and I need to, I should just call up my buddy, and then we can have like a sit down interview, so that way, there's more credibility to this, because it legit it was fun, it was a real fun thing that I did. So, anyways, so um, we were going back and forth. You know, think of I was like the Mikey Whipwreck, and the biggest thing was is I had like literally like 4 offensive moves, and all the other things was from him. And when I say him, I mean Mr. Big, because Mr. Big was a like big guy, super nice. If you happen to be watching this, you're a really nice guy. You are. Please don't kill me. Anyways, so so you know, um, I tried to pull an offset, but he was just too big. I couldn't get my shoulders up. 1, 2, 3, he wins, and that was the only wrestling match I actually did. And for uh, not a main event, it was literally the opener. But hey, I didn't do too terrible. Just just trust me. So fast forward again, and we're now still in we're still in 2023, by the way, when this is all going down. So I do another gig, and this one is, instead of being in front of 20 people, we're now in front of, I think it was like 130 to 35. So there's more people there, and my spot was, I was going to climb up on a table, and I was gonna try to jump off of the table, and I was supposed to be speared and go through the table. Well, it didn't really work out like that, because what ended up happening was, when I was falling, I kind of jumped like a little too much. So instead of landing here on his shoulder, I literally smacked him in the face with my knee, breaking his nose. And it really genuinely added a depth to that match that we knew we needed. We just didn't know what it had to do, and broke his nose open. I don't know, I'm saying, like, it wasn't like hanging off or anything, but like you definitely noticed, like right here in your bridge, it was and ironically it was wrecked. So I do go through the table. That goes on without a hitch, and then I just feel like a warm liquid on my leg, and I look, and there's blood, and then I look at, well, his real name's Kevin. I can't remember his actual wrestling name, but I just know his name's Kevin. I look at Kevin's face, and he's just busted open, but he's smiling, kind of like think of like Mick Foley, when the tooth went through his nose, he was smiling, and he just goes, "We just made a WrestleMania moment." Not working for WWE, but we made a WrestleMania moment. So hey, that's cool. So, um, Rec finishes the match. He becomes like the new um head champion, or like the world champion. We get backstage. I'm apologizing profusely. He's not thinking anything of it. He's just laughing, smiling. He goes, "This is gonna get so many YouTube videos or YouTube views." And as it turns out, it got demonetized for real life harm. Even when we tried to censor it, it still wasn't enough. So that video just never existed, and whoever was there to witness it, they got to see a little bit of history, because that was actually the first ever time that blood was, you know it was more than just like a little cut, like it was genuinely just pouring out of his face. So, in a weird way, it was kind of cool to make a little bit of history. And the third and final one that I want to talk about is, actually a really cool one that not a lot of people would probably not a lot of you would believe, but there's a wrestler of the name of the Blue Meanie, and he was an ECW original, worked for WWE for a little bit. He actually just recently made a cameo in EC, or not, TNA. So, if you ever meet him, just know that he's like just really kind, gentle guy. Oh, it's really funny too. I can't even lie. It's really funny. I tune into his podcast every day. Anyways, so it was me, Rec, and Blue Meanie. This is in 2024, by the way. So we're all doing our thing, and my big spot was, I was going to get hit in the back, like not in my head, like on my back. and it was with a chair. And how the wrestling chairs are gimmicked is you have to, like, they take like a certain piece of metal out so they can fold in more. So when you hit it, it looks flattened. At least that's how we did it. I don't know if anybody else does it the same way. I don't know, but I digress. So, um, we're doing they're doing their spots. I get up on the turnbuckle. I try to jump off. I get caught. I'm about to do a choke slam spot, but Brian, he jumped the gun because you know I didn't I didn't know that immediately after getting choke slammed I was supposed to get back up and then do that chair spot. So I was thinking this whole time that I was supposed to lay down and stay down for the rest of the time. And I am facing the mat, like as I get choke slammed, I roll over, I'm on my stomach, and I'm thinking that the chair spot is going to happen pretty soon, and it never happens. So I I start to slowly get up, and all of a sudden, like, I just feel like bam right on the back of my head, and I didn't get knocked out or anything, but I was just like, oh my god, like that hurt, and I get up, super lightheaded because I just got hit with a chair and I stood up so fast. I'm literally dazing. Everyone's thinking I'm selling, but like I'm legit having an issue trying to, like comprehend what's going on. And so I literally fall out I fall out the ring between like the top and the middle ropes. I literally just pile out looking like a hot mess and I get carried in the back and the promoter he goes, "Well, I think that's it for you. Put on an impressive show, but you probably got CTE." And I did go like admittedly a little too late. I went a month later, and I just had a concussion. I can't remember if it was like a serious concussion or not, but I did get a concussion, and so that's actually how I started getting them so easily. To this day, I still can't lay flat on my back because then it feels like the blood rushes to my head. I get crazy migraines. There was one time when I laid on the floor for too long and I actually blacked out. So it is serious. Like you do seriously get hurt. Like that is legit. Like I can promise you, I'm still dealing with that to this day. And so, but I want to get back into it. Because I miss it. I've been without it for too long. And I got just like this motivation to do it again. So yeah, but like I said, if you guys want to see my promos, because again, I recorded them in this room, and I was not as good looking. That was a joke. Don't go crazy in the comments. Anyways, but yeah. So just just wanted to kind of put this out there because I think it's kind of like a little cool history that I wish that others would have been able to see, but unfortunately, nobody was able to see that. So I can try to, because like I do have VHS tapes. Like for an example, I got like I got a bunch of homemade ones. I have no idea what that was. That just fell out, but I got a bunch of them, so I can try to look through them and see if I have by chance anything that um that like you know shows at least even a glimpse of what I did. But yeah, no, it's just I thought it'd be kind of cool to talk about this because I really want to get back into doing the independents. I'll never be good enough to get into like WWE or anything like that, but I will. I'll be more than willing to get back into wrestling in different ways. So, But yeah, so again, just something really cool I wanted to talk about. And I hope you all having a blessed day, by the way. And, just as AJ Good said, say no to drugs and alcohol. And yes, to independent shows. And I'll see you next time.